Well, my friends, this is Jay, and I'm back with part 2 of our knitting off the chart. We are knitting off the chart from Melissa Leitman's knitting modular book, Shawls, Wraps, and Stoles. This is chart number 94 that we've already started. We've worked one complete the whole chart one complete time all the way up from row 5 and up to row 36. And when I left, you were to complete all the way up, and like I said, row 36 was a wrong side row. So let's see, make sure I thought I heard my camera, was a wrong side row, and then we were going to meet back up at row 13 down here to start the repeats. Now, when you look at the chart, I'm going to bring the chart a little closer. I want to show you a few things before we get started, real quick. Just a reminder that you are to prepare your chart, and that's just so much. To have your chart prepared is just so much easier, and it's going to save you time and a lot of frustration, and you won't have, it'll cut down on any errors. It'll help you concentrate. And as you can see, this box represents the repeat. We'll work across a row, and then if you have more stitches, we have to come up here and repeat. And more stitches, repeat. And then we end the row. Alright, first thing I do is go ahead and put a yellow line, use my yellow highlighter, come down this side of the box. I don't need to color it all in or come across, and then just down this side. That tells my eye where to go to, where to stop. Make sense? Then I suggested that you go ahead and on every right side row and any wrong side row that has pattern, and you can see I have my wrong side rows marked in orange, to go ahead and isolate or count up the white boxes or empty boxes in sequence as they fall, whether they're inside of the large box here, the repeat, or outside, so that you don't waste time or lose your place trying to count and recount and trying to remember where you are. So I have done that. That's just preparing the chart. Here's 5 right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I put a 5. Okay, on up here when it got a little longer, as the rows got longer, here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I put a 7. So I did that all the way up so that once I start working my chart, whether I work it, and then have to leave and come back, I still will have a prepared chart and I will know exactly where I am. Does that make sense? All right. Now, the next little thing I'll just real quick tell you, okay? Make sure I'm on. Yep. All right, first of all, just a little disclaimer. I'm not a professional lace knitter. What we're doing is learning how to work from charts and read charts and use the stitches out of her book. All right, but in real lace knitting, you can as the rows are the yarn is very thin, you have a lot of beautiful stitches. You can use a lot of markers, or they use a lot of lifelines every so often. Well, we're not using that tonight because this, like I said, this is not high-end knitting. But it is interesting to know how to take what we see on the chart and actually put it into fabric, actually knit the stitches. So I'm going to show you again how I knit what I call from landmarks. Just every so often things line up. That's what's so great about a chart. Once you line up, once we start working from the chart, things line up. And once you hit a landmark, oh man, you just feel great. You just feel great, you'll know. And if you do make a mistake, and if you don't hit the landmark, you'll know, stop. I need to go stop and check just where I check back to the last landmark to see if what I did wrong or what I forgot, or if I forgot to pass a slip stitch over, or if I forgot to yarn over. You will be able to tell it just by learning how to knit from landmarks. Now, it may not be good for everyone, but just give it a try. And like I said, I'm going to take it row by row. We're going to go slow. And, I'm just thrilled. I'm just thrilled to have so many. And I can tell by the comments and by the number of people that are watching the video. I am just so excited, because you just never know what people like and if this is more than what people want. But like I said, I enjoy it. It's interesting. I want to grow in charts, because after, we have a lot. There's so many charts, people. You can never run out. And then I have a few surprises on down the road. So now, enough talk. Let's start. I will go back and check my camera, make sure everything's ready. We are starting on row 13, and we're going to repeat the chart. Back in just a minute. All right, so I have worked my shawl up to the chart for row 13. Like I said, I'm excited, and I hope you are too. All right, I'm not going to read it. I'm just going to go right into the chart. I have some white markers, so I'll know where my chart is. Here's all the stitches so far. I work up. I slide my marker, and on row 13, of course, in the chart, the first thing I have to do is yarn over. I yarn over. Now, inside of the box, and you will hear me now as we repeat, telling you inside the box or outside the box. That's a big help. So inside of the box, now I'm going to knit one. Did my yarn over, my first yarn over outside the box. Now inside the box, knit one, then yarn over, knit one, 2, 3, and 4. I've already got it numbered, so I don't have to stop. Now I'm up to our symbol that says slip 2 stitches, knit 1, then pass the slip stitches over. Right there in the center. That's a landmark. Right there. So I'm going to slip 2 stitches. You can kind of hold up and see if you're kind of in the center of wherever you are. So I'll slip 2 stitches. Then I'll knit 1. Now stop, reach back, and pass those 2. I just pass them one at a time so I know that I did it over. All right, on the other side of this symbol, look, I've already marked it. It says knit 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, and 4. All right, then it says yarn over. Now stop. Okay, that's a landmark. Now I take my eye, because I've highlighted it with the yellow marker, I take it back up to the beginning of the repeat box. Not outside of the box, but inside of the box. And it will be a knit 1. That knit 1, I want you to see that it falls in the center of something. So that knit 1 right there. Then there's a yarn over. And guess what? I have to knit 4 again. 1, 2, 3, and 4. I am back up to my landmark center symbol, and you can see that I'm in the center of something. It takes 3 stitches, so I'm going to slip 2 stitches, knit 1, reach back and pass those 2 slip stitches over and off. And since I pre-counted, knit 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now yarn over. All right, I'm in the same place. And you say, well, all you have to do is look here. I still have more stitches. So that means I have to bring my eye back up to, all the way back up to the front of the box again, to the yellow highlighter. And it starts, and there's that knit 1. Remember, it's going to be like in a center. So there's knit 1, then yarn over, knit 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Alright, I'm in the center section of something right there. I need 3 stitches. I need slip 2, knit 1, reach back and pass the 2 slip stitches over and off. I take my time, get them both over there. Alright, so now you see the landmark. Alright, after that it's knit 4 inside of the box. Now 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yarn over, stop. Now I only have 1 stitch, and that 1 stitch is right here outside of the box. So I knit that 1 stitch, then I have to add the last yarn over. Yarn over, slide the marker, hold the yarn over in place if you have to, and now we are knitting in the shawl section of our shawl. Right, going right on this side as we work our way to the shawl increase marker. Now just work a few and stop. Let's go back. We're concentrating on the chart tonight. And now you can hold it up. I don't know if you can see it on mine, but you can hold yours up. And look, you can see landmarks already. You can see a landmark in the center here where we did this slip 2 stitches, knit 1. You can see it there, you can see it there, and you can see it there. You can also see this knit 1 right here in the center, right there, and then here. So that's your first row, row 13. We did the repeats. Now you have to work the other part, finish working the shawl section. All right, now this is the easy, down here is going to be easy. Row 14 is a wrong side, and we simply, by her instructions, just purl all these white boxes on the wrong side. We just purl back. Purl all the way back, and I will see you at row 15. All right, we are up at row 15. I had to start over, so I'm just backing out a little bit. Had to reset my camera. Okay, row 15, I slide my marker, and outside of the box, the beginning of the row, of course, I have to do a yarn over on every right side row. Then there's a knit 1 right outside of the box. So I knit 1. Now inside of the box on row 15, it says knit 2. 1, 2. Then I have a yarn over, so I yarn over. Now we have 3 dots, our first 3 dots, 1, 2, 3, and we know that we need to come to the front of the work. So I bring my yarn around after I do the yarn over. In other words, after I yarn over, I have to come to the front. Now I'm going to purl 3. 1, 2, and 3. And that brings me up to my landmark. So I have to put the yarn in back. I look for 3 stitches. 3 stitches that will represent slip 2 and then knit 1. Can you see them? And they will be right on top of the previous landmark. So I'm going to slip 2 stitches, just like that. I'm going to knit 1. Now I'm going to reach back and pass each slip stitch over and off. Now on this side of the marker of that symbol, I have another purl 3. So I need to just simply bring the yarn to the front and purl 3. 1, 2, and 3. Now once I finish that last one, because the next stitch is a yarn over, but I'm already in the yarn over position, and at the end of the box, right here, right in the yellow, it says knit 1. So I'm in the yarn over position, stick my needle in and knit that 1 stitch, stop, because you see all the stitches that I have left. So that means I have to go back up to the front of the box. Let's go. Now, I'm going to knit 2, front of the box. 1, 2, yarn over, and then back around and purl 3. Back around and purl 3. 1, 2, and 3. I'm at my landmark in the center again on this stitch. You can see the landmark, the previous landmark. So I slip 2, knit 1. Well, no, I won't. Because, look, after that purl stitch, I need to put that yarn in the back or I'm going to have a yarn over. So I caught myself. So slip 2, 1, 2, knit 1, reach back and pass the slip stitch over and off. I'm right here in the center. I purl 3, put the yarn in back, I do this symbol. Now I need to bring the yarn to the front again. It's little things like that that maybe when you take your eye off, just like I took my eye off for a second. Alright, so now I'm in the front and I'm going to purl 3 again. 1, 2, 3. Then it says yarn over, and I am in the yarn over position. So I just simply knit 1 and stop. Look and see, I have more stitches. So I'm back to the front. Knit 2. 1, 2. Now I'm going to pay more attention this time. You know, I'm trying to talk and... Alright, so I need to purl 3, yarn in front, purl 3. 1, 2, and 3. Then yarn in back right away so you don't forget. There is that center landmark stitch right on top of the previous row. So I slip 2 stitches, knit 1, reach back and pass those 2 slip stitches over and off. Alright, now I need to bring the yarn to the front because there's a purl 3. This is row 15. We're right here in the box. 1, 2, 3, the last purl 3. So purl 3, 1, 2, and 3. Okay, now yarn over, and look, there's 1 stitch left in the box and 2 outside, my 3 friends. And look, I have 3 stitches left. 1, 2, 3. So after the yarn over, then I knit 1, 2, and 3. Yarn over for the last yarn over right there. Slide the marker and start on the shawl section. Just like that. I'll knit a few stitches and then stop. Let's go back. Let's hold up and see if we can see some landmarks. Look, those 2 landmarks line up. There's the one in the center that knit 1. Okay, then there's another landmark right in the center of that section. And then there's that knit 1. And then here's the last landmark. You can see that I have 2. So I know that I'm right. And then, of course, I end the row with a yarn over on every right side. That is row 15, right side row. Row 16 is simply purl back. I will see you at row 17. I think you can see how much a chart really helps you to see where you are and how things line up. Alright, back in just a minute. Okay, I decided to if I make mistakes, I am going to correct them. This way you will know how to correct yours. Some of you probably caught it right away. Alright, as I finished the last landmark, and I had the purl 3, we're still on row 15 when I did the landmark, center stitch, and then I had 1, 2, 3, purl stitches, and there they are, 1, 2, 3. Well, you know that once I purl, I'm in the yarn over position. But I did an extra yarn over, which I could have taken off on the next row, but I want you to see how, how it's done, and that, mistakes happen. So, all right, here I am. So I just backed back a few stitches, and I thought I'm going to go ahead and make the correction right here so that I don't lose the work and don't have to panic. Or, like I said, when I on the purl row, I could have just dropped that extra yarn over. But here's a landmark. I want you to see how to do it. Here's a landmark. See? You recognize it. Now there's the 3 purl stitches. 1, 2, 3 right there. And in the last purl, I'm already in the yarn over position, but I yarned over anyway. Just from habit, people. So I'm going to slow down a little bit. I'm maybe at a faster pace than I should be. So after I do the 3 purl stitches, I'm in the yarn over position. Here I am right here. So now I can knit 1. See, there's the yarn over position. Now knit 1 inside the box and then 2 outside of the box. 1, 2. Stop. Now add that last yarn over. Slide the marker. Hold it on this side. And now you start working on the shawl section, because we still have to do our increases on the right and the wrong side on each end of the shawl. Let me just go up a little bit and I'll stop. Now you see how if you catch things because of the landmark system, well, in this simple type lace knitting, I caught it right away, and I was able to just knit back a few stitches. I only had to knit back instead of having to lose all of this or going back. Or like you said, I could just simply drop that extra yarn over when I'm on the purl side. But I wanted you to see me actually make a correction and catch it. Because, you're kind of in a rhythm with the row and the stitches as you go. And now you're getting used to you're getting used to how it feels, what it should look like, and if it feels off a little bit, stop. Don't override it. Stop and see what you like. Okay, I felt funny, like something was off. Just go back and check. And that's what I did. So, if you didn't know, now you know. Now we will proceed again. Row 16 is the wrong side. We will just simply purl back, and now I'll say it again. I will meet you back at row 17. Well, my friends, we've made it to row 17, and we're going to go ahead and take care of it. I think we're making great progress. I tried to make myself slow it down. I get excited. Alright, so I'm coming up to row 17, of course the right side, and here's the marker. I slide my marker. Now let's go. Alright, yarn over, knit 2. 1, 2, and then there's 1 inside of the box that's highlighted there, so I knit that 1 extra stitch. So really it was 3. Now, yarn over, and then there's a slip knit. And of course I've shared with you, I just do the knit into the back loop because it just keeps me flowing that direction. Then yarn over, we have a knit 2 stitches again. 1, 2. Now I'm up to a center. So take a look and see if you're hitting a center landmark. We're knitting by landmarks. Alright, I see it. And that symbol represents slip 2, knit 1, and then you just reach back and pass those 2 slip stitches over and off. Alright, on the other side of the center, look, I have knit 2. 1, 2, yarn over. Now I'm going to knit 2 stitches together. Okay, then yarn over and stop, because I'm at the end of the repeat box, and I need to take my eye, and of course, like I said, you can see I have more stitches, so I'm just going to bring my eye back up to the beginning of the repeat box, and let's have a go at it again. It starts with a knit 1, yarn over, slip slip knit, yarn over. Now I have knit 2, 1, 2, because I've already counted all my boxes. Then I'm up to a center again. That center takes 3 stitches. There they are, 1, 2, 3. So I slip 2 of them, knit the last one, reach back, and pass the slip stitches over and off. Alright, that's the center. Now I'm going on the other side. It says knit 2. 1, 2, yarn over. Now I need to knit 2 stitches together, just like that. Knit 1, yarn, oops, not knit 1, I'm sorry, my eye went up, back out, I caught it right away. Went up to the wrong row. Right here, after knit 2, yarn over, knit 2 stitches together. There's my knit 2 stitches together, then a yarn over, stop. Alright, I have a few more stitches left. Can you see that? Now I need to come back up to the beginning of the box again. Knit 1. It's not hard, you just have to concentrate. Yarn over, slip slip knit. Get up under there, get that, slip slip knit. Okay. Now yarn over, knit 2. 1, 2. Now I should be at the center, at my center landmark stitch. And there it is. There's 3 stitches. Can you see it? Alright, so I slip 2. Knit 1. Reach back and pass those slip stitches over. After a while, so you have a rhythm. I can't get a rhythm because I have to talk and tell you where I am and what I'm doing. Alright, after that center, on the other side, it says knit 2. 1, 2. Yarn over. Now I have the last knit 2 stitches together, and then the last yarn over in the box. Now if I go outside the box, guess what? My 3 friends are waiting for me. It says knit 3, and there they are. 1, 2, 3. So I knit those 3. My 3 friends that are a landmark, and don't forget we have to do the last yarn over, slide the marker, hold that yarn over in place, and we start knitting up the shawl on this side. Just knitting up until we reach the increase marker for the shawl. I'll just knit a few, then we'll stop. Now, as I have called out landmarks, if you look at your work closely, you will be able to recognize right away the landmarks because they just line up. That's what the chart does. It shows you how they're going to line up. There's all my slip, slip, knit 1 there, and there. There's my 3 friends. They're in between 2 yarn overs. 1, 2, 3. Look, you can just pick them out. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. You see how it just lines up. Alright, so now that was row 17. Row 18 is the wrong side, and so far we have no pattern yet. So that means we just purl back. I will see you again at row 19. Take your time and don't lose any yarn overs when you're on the purl side. Back in just a minute. Alright, I'm up to row 19. I think we're making great progress. How about you? Alright, I slide my marker, and row 19, of course, the right side, we start with a yarn over. Now, knit 3 outside of the box. Let me get my yarn over, make sure it's on the, stays in the right place. So that's 1, 2, and 3 outside the box. Then if you look inside the box, there's a knit 1, and it lines up. So I knit 1, then a yarn over, knit 1 stitch again. Now I have a slip slip knit. Alright, we'll take our time and work across. After the slip slip knit, I have a yarn over, and now we have a dot. Our first dot on row 19, here's our dot, so we know that we need to purl. So after the yarn over, I need to come to the front of the work, purl that 1 stitch right there, because we're on the front of the work, so I need to, my yarn over slipped off, so I'll just do it again, come to the front and purl it. Now I have, put your yarn in back, I have to remind myself. Now I'm up to the center, my center symbol, and it takes 3 stitches, and there are 3. I'm going to slip the first 2, knit 1, reach back and pass those slip stitches over and off, just like that. Alright, now the next thing, we have a dot again, so I bring my yarn to the front and purl that 1 stitch. Now it says yarn over, but remember, after I purl a stitch, we are already in the yarn over position, and there's a knit 2 together right after it. So I'm going to stick my needle into the knit 2 stitches. There's the yarn over, and now just knit it. Then there's knit 1 right after that. Then a yarn over, stop. Take your eye back up to the beginning because we have a lot more stitches to take care of. So I'm back on this end now. Row 19, now I'm back here, and that is a knit 1, it lines up, yarn over, knit 1, slip slip knit. Okay, I do a yarn over, but in order to purl the next stitch I have to come around to the front and purl that stitch. So I purl, then yarn in back, so I won't forget right away. Now the center symbol, slip 2, knit 1, reach back and pass the slip stitches over and off. Alright, now I have to come back to the front because I need to purl the next stitch. Once I purl that stitch, I'm in the yarn over position, getting ready to do knit 2 stitches together. So I stick my needle up under 2 stitches right there. There's a yarn over. Now I knit the 2 stitches together, knit 1 stitch, yarn over, and stop. More stitches, so I need to go back up to the start of the box, the beginning, knit 1, yarn over, knit 1, slip, slip, knit. Okay. Then there's a yarn over, then back to the front to purl that 1 stitch, then yarn in back, then there's my, there's my 3 stitches for my center symbol, slip 2, knit 1, reach back and pass the slip stitch over and off, both stitches. Okay, now yarn back to the front because I need to purl the next stitch. Alright, after I purl, I'm in the yarn over position, so I'm going to stick my needle under 2 stitches, yarn over, and knit 2 stitches together. Knit 1, yarn over, the last stitch in the box. Now look outside of the box on this side, and you'll see I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 4 stitches, and that's what I have left. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's the yarn over. Now I'm just going to knit 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Stop, make your last yarn over, slide the marker, and we are on our way in the shawl section. I'm just going to knit a few stitches and then we'll stop and take a look. Okay, right Here we go. I'm going to pull that out. Of course, you really can't really see nothing. You see it in the whole, not in piece by piece. But you can definitely see some of the landmarks. I hold it at different angles. You can see that, and when you're knitting it. All right, now let's look ahead to row 20. Row 20 here. I'm going to look across. There is no pattern, so we simply purl back, and I will see you at row 21. Be careful when you start with the repeats. Be careful. It's on your purl back row. Sometimes you will drop or yarn over. All right, take care, and I'll be right back. I'm working over so that I can get us started on row 21. I'll turn my work just one time a little bit just so that you can see. Like I said, this is just a little heavier yarn than what I used on the real shawl, but I wanted you to be able to see the stitches as we're working them. So on my practice, hope everything is standing out. I hope yours is looking just checking my camera, make sure I had plenty of juice. I hope yours is looking quite good too. And let us begin. Row 21. I slide my marker, and first thing, of course, is yarn over. I have pre-counted all those white boxes, so after the yarn over, it's knit 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's right outside the box. Now inside of the box, we have knit 4 again. So I knit 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now I'm up to my first dot. And of course, since we're on the right side, I'm going to bring my yarn in front. I'm going to purl that 1 stitch, then yarn to the back again. Now knit 3, and that's kind of a landmark because it's a center, so it's the center of something. So you see, you can just look at your work. So I knit 3, 1, 2, and 3. All right, now I have a dot on the other side, so yarn in front, purl the next stitch, yarn in back, knit 3, 1, 2, 3, stop. All right, I have a lot of stitches left, so I have to go back up to the beginning of the box to make the repeat. It starts out with knit 4, right up here inside the box here. Knit 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Then it's the dot, so yarn in front, purl 1 stitch, yarn to the back, knit 3. There's a 3, represents like a center. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, then of course, yarn to the front, purl that 1 dot, yarn to the back, knit 3. 1, 2, 3. Sorry, there goes a night plane, airplane. All right, stop. After you knit the 3, stop, because I have a few more stitches. I need to go back to the front of the box again. So knit 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yarn to the front, purl the dot, yarn to the back, knit 3. Make sure it's only knit 3. 1, 2, and 3. Okay, yarn to the front again. I'm going to purl that last dot, yarn to the back. Now, knit 3 inside of the box. That's the last 1, 2, 3. Now outside of the box it says knit 5. I'm going to go ahead and check. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. See it? So I can go ahead and knit those 5 right over here outside of the box. We made it. Look, we can all breathe now. Of course, this wasn't a hard row. This one was really easy. And before I can finish and slide the marker, I need a yarn over. Now I slide the marker and hold that marker in place. Now you can knit up the shawl on this side. Alright, let me just knit a few stitches and make sure I have it. Alright, you can't really see too much, but you can on yours, because you're hopefully working in the thinner yarn. Now, we have just finished row 21. We're on the front side and we work the stitches in this direction. The next row is row 22. Row 22, you can tell right away because I use orange to represent anything on my wrong side of my fabric or work. So row 22 tells me right off the bat it's going to be the wrong side. Okay, then as I look again, I see that there's a little, not much, there's just a little work we're going to have to do on row 22. And then I went ahead and prepared and marked all my box sequence so that I don't have to stop or take my eye off the chart. So I'll let you catch up and we will work 22, row 22. Back in just a minute. All right, well, how many of you, see how many of you went right past the wrong row, wrong side? I was watching a movie, and before I knew it, I had knit all the way across. I had to go back and pull, just tick back, just purl back, so I could be at the beginning of the wrong side. Well, I was just trying to watch a movie. All right, here we are at row 22. Now, again, row 22, because the number's on this side, we know that it's a wrong side row. And for my own benefit, I have highlighted it in my wrong side orange. All right, and I have marked each sequence of little white boxes just to save time. So let's give this a try. Now you have to put your mind in a different mindset. So we are, of course, the wrong side, and by her instructions, we purl on the wrong side. So I'm purling that part of the shawl, the first part. All right, I'm up to my chart marker right there, the white one. Now I'm going to slide the marker, but I don't have to do any yarn overs. We are working in this direction. See it? So the first thing that I see, row 22, I need to purl 6 boxes or 6 stitches. See it? I've already counted. So here we go. That's 1, 2, that's 3, 4, 5, and 6. See, because it's just easy if I go ahead and count it out. Okay? Then the next thing inside the box, that was on the outside now. Now I'm on the inside of the box. It says purl 3. So I'm going to purl 3. 1, 2, and 3. And we have a dot. Now, if I'm on the wrong side, then logically the dot would mean to knit that 1 stitch on this wrong side row. So I put my yarn in the back, I knit, and if you look real closely, you should be knitting on top of a knit stitch on the wrong side. So I knit that 1 stitch, stop, bring the yarn back to the front, because now I'm in the center, right here. It says purl 3 stitches. So I have to 1, 2, and 3, and I have a dot again. So I look, and yep, there's a knit stitch right there. So I'm going to put my yarn in the back. I am going to knit that 1 stitch, just like that. Stop. Then inside of the box, I have purl 4. Yarn back to the front. Now purl 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, now stop. Look, we have stitches left on the wrong side. So on the wrong side, when we have to repeat, we have to take our eye back in this direction. We're working in this direction, so now to find the repeat, you go backwards to this where the yellow highlight in the box. So I go back there and it says purl 3. So I'm going to purl 1, 2, 3. Then I have a dot, so yarning back. I see a knit stitch right there, so I'm going to knit that stitch. Now yarn back in front. Oops, right there. And it says purl 3. Right in the center. 1, 2, and 3. And look, I have another dot. So I have to put my yarn in back. Right? And then, oops, I picked up a stitch wrong. Alright, then I knit that one stitch, then yarn in front again. And it says purl 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Stop. Here I am. I've worked back up to this side of the box, but I see that I have a few more stitches. Can you see that? Alright, so I need to take my eye back right here, and let's start again with the repeat. Make sure I have yarn before I start. We're on the wrong side, so push my stitches up. Alright, alright, it says purl 3. 1, 2, and 3. Then the dot, so put the yarn in back, knit 1, yarn to the front, purl 3, 1, 2, 3. There's the second dot. Alright, yarn to the back. I see that knit stitch. I'm going to knit that stitch again right there. Yarn back to the front. Purl 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now I'm right here. Now I only have, it says the last thing is to purl 5 stitches outside of the box right here. See? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I already counted. So I'm going to count over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Woohoo! So purl 5. And since we're on the wrong side, there are, you don't have a beginning yarn and ending yarn over. You just purl all the stitches. Now I'm going to slide the marker and I'm going to just purl, continue to purl up the shawl. I'll just do it for a few stitches and then I'll turn it. See, it just takes a different mindset. Just that putting it in another color on that line. Not every wrong side line. Just any time you're gonna work some, pattern or some lace. It helps me, except when I was watching a movie. I was like, oh man, I done went past I'm just purling away until I realized you're supposed to be working row 22, Jay. Stop it. Okay. So now, of course you won't see much on this, but I'll flip it over and just let you see the progress. And flip yours over too. Just watch keep your caps on if you need to. Just watch. Now let me just show you. Look on yours. You may not be able to see. I'll bring mine close, but you probably can't. You may be able to see it. But right where there is a center, or that slip 2, knit 1. You see that center section. All right, if you look real close, there is a purl stitch here and a purl stitch here on each side. There and there. Now I'm going to move over to the next one just to show you the landmarks. There's the purl stitch right there. It's purled on the front, but on the back we knit. So there it is, and then right here, here's the other one. It's right by the, oh, here it is right here. So purl, purl, then the last one, purl, purl. On the back side, you'll see, probably can't, like I said, see it so much on mine, but there's a knit column. See? On the back, we did a knit stitch. On the front, we did a purl. Now listen to this. That was, whew, I got it back. That was row 22, the wrong side. Now we are on row 23, the right side. And we are going to work it in this direction. Everything, I've got it marked. I've got everything ready to go. I'm telling you, it's a game changer to go ahead and just work your charts and fill in and give yourself as much help as possible. All right? Take care, and I will be back shortly. Well, row 23, the right side. I didn't go past it this time. I put the movie on pause. All right, row 23. I slide my marker, and of course, now that we're on the right side, we go back into pattern. I have to do my yarn over to start, yarn over, and then we're right here. We're reading in this and working in this direction. All right, the first thing after the yarn over is knit 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Knit 5 stitches. Then inside of the box, knit 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Stop. I have a dot. It needs to be a purl stitch because we're on the right side, so I'll bring my yarn to the front of the needle. Now purl that 1 stitch. Then take the yarn to the back. Now knit 3 in the center. 1, 2, and 3. Second dot. Bring the yarn to the front. I see a purl stitch right there, so I'm going to purl that 1 stitch. Take the yarn back to the back, and inside of the box I have knit 3. 1, 2, and 3. Stop. Now you see that I have more stitches, so when we're reading the front of the box we have to come back to this side. So once I come back to the beginning of the box, it says knit 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yarn in front, purl that 1 stitch, yarn in back, knit 3. 1, 2, and 3. There's a second dot, so yarn in front, purl that stitch, yarn in back. The last stitch in the box is knit 3. 1, 2, and 3. Now I still have more stitches. I have a few more, see? So I have to go back up to the front of the box again. It starts with a knit 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Alright, now bring the yarn in front so that you can purl that 1 stitch that goes right there, and you'll be able to tell where it goes. It's a landmark. Purl 1, yarn in back, the landmark right in the center. It says knit 3. 1, 2, and 3. Alright, yarn in front again. There's the second dot, the purl. Purl that stitch, yarn in back. Alright, I'm right here at the end of the box. It says knit 3. 1, 2, and 3. Alright, now outside of the box it says knit, right here, knit 7, because I already pre-counted. So I'm going to go ahead and count. 2, 4, 6. And I have to look, and my yarn over jumped over again. So I'll take care of that when I get to it. Jumped over the fence. But 7. So knit 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. See, can I find it? Or if I didn't make it, then I'll just reach down and pick up a loop. Just reach down and pick up a strand. If you didn't make it, maybe I didn't make it on that one. Maybe I had my mind somewhere else on the movie. So I'll just reach down and pick up a strand like that and put it there. And knit that one to make it 7. And then add the new yarn over. See, I have to have that new one. Slide the marker. Does that make sense? Okay, we had 7. And then you have to make that you have to make the last yarn over. Hold it on this side. Start knitting up the heel on the shawl. Just like that. Now I'll stop and just get a few stitches up. Now, so now you can see all of those little stitches. They really pop out now once you look at it. You may not see it on mine, but you can see it on yours. If you hold it up, you'll be able to see all those purl stitches. There's purl, purl. Look, just look for them, purl, purl. You know that you purl and purl. All right. So you just continue up working on this side of the shawl. Don't forget to make your increases like you've been doing, I hope. So we have just finished row 23 working in this direction, doing the repeats. All right, now over here, row 24. I already have it in wrong side orange. So in wrong side orange, it tells me I will be purling. And I will be purling and working the whole row in this direction. And then repeat. And repeat. Okay? And then I'll end. Coming here. Alright, so I will see you on the wrong side. Just finish this side and work down to the chart. And then we'll come back and finish row 24. And then, just like before, I'm going to let the rest of it, you're just going to work on your own. But let's go ahead and make sure I have row 24. Back in just a minute. Well, I am on the wrong side, and I hope you are too. I hope that you have just realized the progress you have made. And we are up to we're right here at row 24, the wrong side, and we will be working in this direction. And I'm telling you, you will be so pleased when you see what you have done. Alright, so I am working over, because it's the wrong side, I'm on the purl side. I slide the marker, and on the wrong side I don't have to worry about making yarn overs. I simply purl, except for special stitches. Row 24 starts with purl 7 stitches. It's right here outside of the box. Purl 7. So slide the marker and purl 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Alright, now inside of the box it says purl 3. So, whoops. Wait, and make sure your yarn, I started knit. Make sure your yarn is in front when you're going to do the purl. Purl 3. 1, 2, and 3. Alright, now we have our first dot. Since we're on the wrong side, then I need to take my yarn to the back, and you'll see a knit stitch right there. So then I'm going to knit. Hold on, let me see. I'm going to knit. Make sure I got my 3 purl stitches. Hold on, I thought I had an extra stitch there. 2, 4, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3. Okay. So now I'm going to knit. Just do that. Then yarn to the front. Purl 3. 1, 2, and 3. Alright, now yarn in back. Knit, because I have a dot, the second dot, knit 1 stitch, yarn in front again, and I'm going to purl 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Stop, because we're here, but of course you can see that we have a lot of other stitches to work. So now when we're on the wrong side, we take our eye backwards and over here to this yellow area and start again with purl 3. So now I'm going to purl 3, make sure I've got it. Yep, I see it. Purl 3, 1, 2, and 3. Then there's a dot, yarn in back. There's that knit stitch, knit 1, then yarn in front again. Purl 3, 1, 2, and 3. Here's the second dot. So I put the yarn in back so that I can knit that one stitch right on top of those knit stitches. Alright, then I bring the yarn to the front and purl 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Stop. I have more stitches to work, so I take my eye back, start here again with a purl 3 and push my stitches up. Purl 1, 2, and 3. Yarn in back, knit 1 stitch, then yarn in front. Purl 3, 1, 2, and 3. Second dot. Whew. Yarn in back. There's that knit stitch, so I knit 1, yarn in front. Purl 4, 1, 2, that's 3, 4. That's purl 4 right here inside the box. Now, if I move, now I need to move to outside the box, and I have purl 6. So I'm going to count 2, 4, 6. I have them. 2, 4, see them? Alright, so to end row 24, wrong side, I purl 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ooh, my stitches are a little tight. It's a little humid tonight. 5 and 6. I don't have to worry about a yarn over. I simply slide the marker and continue to purl on the wrong side as I work the shawl section. So then I'll purl up a few stitches, and then I'll stop, and guess what? Whew! Alright. So, just want to show you that. Now I'm going to turn it over on the right side. And then I'm going to turn it real quick in this direction. Of course, this is not steamed, but you can see the progress. Hopefully yours looks something like this. There's the top, the garter tab up here. Alright, so now let's look at the chart for a minute. Wow, we have worked all the way up. Now, just like before, I'm going to, since there's no other wrong side rows that we have to work any pattern on, it's just standard knitting, and you know how to do the repeat. So I'm going to move this up so you're not looking at. So you will be here at row 25. Alright, so row 25, you will just knit across and work in all the stitches, and then repeat where you need to repeat, and then 26 is purl back, and so on and so forth, all the way up to row, let's see if I'm on camera, if row 36 is on there. Nope, so let me pull it closer. I'll just sit it here now. So now the next thing is just to work all the way up to row 36. Row 36 is a wrong side row. When you finish it, then you come back down to row 13, down here at the very bottom, back where we started when we started doing the repeats. Does that make sense? Now, just talking, because everybody's at different places, and different skill levels. All right. We've already worked the chart twice. I worked the first one with you and now this one. Okay, then you need to work the charts 2 more times. All the way up to the top, doing the repeats, and then 1 more. So that will give you 4 repeats. Okay? So that your shawl will be wide enough, to fit your body. You don't want to do all this work. But now listen, because I know everybody's on different levels. If you say, Jay, okay, I made it to 2. Okay, I might try 3. Okay, if I get to 3, I don't think I can do 4. I don't think I can hold on. All right, there's nothing wrong with if you would like to just, after you're on the right side row and you decide, okay, I've had enough. All right, then as long as you maintain the yarn over at the beginning of a right side row and at the end, you can just knit across, purl back, knit across, purl back. Just go into stockinette. But the shawl will still continue to grow because we want it to grow enough to fit your body, and then we can put on the lace at the end. So it's okay. It will be just as pretty. I'm telling you, the whole point of this exercise, of this practice, is to get you to not turn around, not go back, not undo, not ball it up and put it in a bag. It's to get you to cross the finish line. You'll be surprised getting across the finish line how it would encourage you for the next project, because we're going to keep moving up and up and up and up. Okay? I'm trying to improve my skill levels too. I'm going to have to take a deep breath on some of these. So it is all right if you cannot, if you can make it to 3 repeats and say, okay, I'll just do stockinette, but just remember to put the yarn overs in the chart at the beginning and at the end. And just finish and keep working the shawl. And just keep up with how many times, how many rows, so that you'll kind of finish with the rest of us. No problem. What do you think of that? Does that help? Does that give you a little encouragement? Well, I hope so, because I'm enjoying this, and you're going to be so happy when you see how pretty it is. Look, nobody has to know your shawl is different from someone else's or from mine. They're not going to see you and, people wearing their shawl at the same places and all that. You know how many people who are going to knit this and just think you'll have your own too. So this is Jay. And what I'm saying is for you to continue to work. Then I will see you back. Of course, I'll get ready to do the shawl, the lace part of the shawl, the bottom border of the shawl, because we're not working her bottom borders because there's just so many rows and things. That's just not what I'm about. So when I come back, I want to share with you the secrets in the chart. There's secrets in the chart of how you can come up with a pretty simple lace border, but yet it's pretty. It will look nice. It will just be stunning. So you finish your shawl and then wait for me. Once you finish however many rows or repeats you're going to do, and I will see you back with secrets from the chart and the pretty lace border. All right. Whew, we made it. Take care. Just take care. Take a little rest. You don't have to just do it. Give yourself, take a day or so. Take a little rest and rest your mind and rest everything. Then come back and then just start again. All right. I will see you in a bit after you finish working all the way through. Happy knitting. And I will talk with you soon. Bye-bye. Bye.